The story of this woman has been trending since she was sentenced to death in Vietnam earlier this week on 12th. Margaret Nduta is her name. So apparently, Margaret Nduta was apprehended in Vietnam back in 2023 June with 2 kilograms of cocaine in a suitcase that she was taking to a country in Southeast Asia called Laos. Margaret Nduta took a flight in Nairobi all the way to Addis Ababa, to Qatar, to Vietnam, and she was en route to Laos to deliver a suitcase that apparently has internal concealed compartments that were packed with cocaine, 2 kilograms of cocaine. We're talking about close to 2 years ago. And earlier this week, on 12th, the sentence was passed. So this is after, of course, she's been taken through the judicial process in Vietnam, and the judgment was delivered on 12th this month that she has been convicted of trafficking 2 kilograms of cocaine and she's sentenced to death. She is scheduled to be hanged tomorrow. I understand that the execution is by way of hanging, so she's scheduled to be hanged tomorrow. And this story is raising a lot of concerns from the Kenyan civil society, the Kenyan government. Some Kenyan leaders have spoken, or they've come out to call on the authorities in this country to contact, or do diplomatic negotiations with the government in Vietnam to give alternative sentencing, probably life imprisonment or even repatriation that would bring her back to this country, be sentenced here based on the Kenyan laws that she understands. And yeah, so a lot of people have raised concerns about this case. They've shown interest. They've written to the government. They've spoken to the relevant authorities, and a lot is happening. But I want us to look into this case and understand who is this woman, Margaret Nduta, and how did things get here? How did things roll all the way out to where we are right now, where she's facing execution tomorrow? You're welcome. Margaret Nduta, a 37-year-old Kenyan woman, was sentenced to death in Vietnam on March 6, 2025, after being convicted of trafficking over 2 kilograms of cocaine through Tan Son Nhat International Airport in Ho Chi Minh City. She was apprehended in July 2023 while en route to Laos, carrying a suitcase that had concealed compartments containing the narcotics. Nduta claimed she was unaware of the drugs, stating that a man named John in Kenya had hired her to deliver the suitcase to a woman in Laos for a payment of 1,300 US dollars. That's approximately 167,000 Kenya shillings. She also mentioned that her travel expenses were covered. Despite her defense, Vietnamese prosecutors dismissed her claims, asserting that her statements were attempts to evade responsibility. Vietnam enforces some of the world's strictest drug laws, with capital punishment applicable for trafficking significant quantities of narcotics. Individuals found guilty of possessing or smuggling over 600 grams of heroin or cocaine or more than 2.5 kilograms of methamphetamines face the death penalty. Following her sentencing, Nduta was given 7 days to appeal, a deadline that lapsed on March 12, 2025. Her family, residing in Murang'a County, Kenya, has been devastated by the news. Her mother, Purity Wangui, expressed profound anguish and has been pleading for government intervention to save her daughter. The distressing news also led to the death of Nduta's grandmother, further compounding the family's grief. In response to the situation, Kenyan officials have initiated diplomatic efforts. Foreign Affairs Principal Secretary Korir Sing'oei acknowledged the complexity of Nduta's case but assured that the government is doing everything possible to secure clemency. Additionally, Kisii Senator Richard Onyonka has appealed to President William Ruto to engage Vietnamese authorities and international human rights organizations to seek more lenient sentence or facilitate Nduta's transfer to Kenya. As of now, Nduta's execution is reportedly scheduled for tomorrow, March 17, 2025. the Kenyan government continues to pursue all available avenues to intervene and potentially save her life.
I want to take this opportunity to ask and to request the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, to assist this lady called Margaret Nduta, who is supposed to be hanged tomorrow in Vietnam. This lady did no crime. This is a lady who was at the wrong place in the wrong time. This is a lady who was misused, used, and abused. This is a lady who was used to transport drugs. We should not lose a Kenyan, Mr. President. You need to act with speed. Margaret Nduta should not be hanged tomorrow. And I know that you can take your phone, you can call the Vietnam government, and we need not to lose this lady. We as Kenyans, we need to unite behind this lady because she's one of our own.
So apparently, Margaret Nduta passed through the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport with this bag containing these narcotics. She went to Addis Ababa Airport. She passed through the Addis Ababa International Airport with this bag containing these drugs. She went all the way to Qatar with this bag containing these narcotics. She passed through the airport in Qatar. I don't know which airport in particular, which specific airport she passed through, but of course she managed to traverse all these airports. She went all the way to Vietnam where she was apprehended. So she passed through 3 high security check airports with these narcotics concealed in a bag, and none of these detectors could detect these drugs. None of these security checks could detect these narcotics. So is it that we don't have good enough devices, good enough security checks, or was corruption employed? Because corruption knows no laws. Was someone bribed to get these drugs passed through all these airports, or what exactly was the case here? Big question. That's $1 million question. Okay. All in all, she went all the way to Vietnam where she was apprehended. She's been through the judicial processes in Vietnam this whole time up until 6th March this month, talking about this month, when the death sentence was passed, and she was given 7 days to appeal, which lapsed on 12th this month. And she couldn't appeal, or couldn't appeal successfully. That's what I'm thinking, because I don't even know if she really appealed or she didn't. But of course, whatever happened, she wasn't successful. And after the sentencing, after the death sentencing, her grandmother, on receiving this news, collapsed or developed some urgent emergency and died. She died on receiving this news. And right now, the whole country is making calls and pushing the government to contact the authorities in Vietnam. I understand that we don't have a Vietnam embassy in this country. We don't have a Vietnam consulate in this country, or Kenyan consulates in Vietnam either. So I don't know, but the government, as I just read to you, this guy, Kovril Singoi, I think is the permanent secretary for foreign affairs, is making calls, and he reported yesterday that the government is making all the efforts to get this woman repatriated to this country where she could be judged based on the Kenyan laws that she understands, which in my opinion would be the right thing to do. It would be the fair way to judge her, because how do you judge someone, a foreign national, based on laws that she don't even understand? And how do you even prove that she actually was aware that the bag contained these narcotics, or she wasn't? So I don't understand it, but yep, the government is doing all it can. That's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm hoping. Okay, because these people can report to us that they're doing everything in their capacity to get her repatriated, but probably that's not the case. So we don't know. Probably even this was, this bag, or this parcel was for someone big in the government. Could have been a government official trying to deliver this narcotics to Laos, that country we're talking about here. So we don't know. It could be anything, but we're just hoping that they gotta do something great enough to, just console this family. I mean, the family has already lost someone, out of this case, and they're just about to lose another life. Yo, I wish that something happens and they bring her to this country. She would rather actually be jailed here, because at the end of the day, justice has to be done. Like, she has to be punished for this kind of this whole transaction, this whole trafficking. Something has to happen, but that would rather happen here, but not in a foreign country, right? So exactly, we just waiting to see what happens. As I told you, the execution is scheduled for tomorrow, 17th March 2025, and we hope and pray that it doesn't happen. Anything else can happen, but this one right here is just too devastating for us as a people that are concerned about this woman's life, about her family's life, and the fact that they've already lost someone in this case. They would better not lose another. All right, so that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to share, follow, and subscribe.